Good evening. Clean Sri Lanka, a prominent name in Sri Lanka. These days, it's on the limelight. It's on the limelight of media as well as it's widely spoken among the general public of this country. Clean Sri Lanka program aims to address a cleaner physical environment and a nationwide moral commitment to enhance ethical principles. So, today we are going to discuss about another aspect, another area of Clean Sri Lanka, which we can term as today we are going to discuss about the blue-green aspect of Clean Sri Lanka, because Clean Sri Lanka is partnered with Sri Lanka Rupawahini Corporation, the national television, to host the 9th ABU Climate Action and Disaster Prevention Summit, which is going to be held in late November in Sri Lanka, with the participation of over 70 foreign journalists as well as 200 Sri Lankans representing various sectors, journalists, activists, experts, and many stakeholders related to the climate action and disaster prevention fields. So, today we have a special guest with us, Mr. SPC Sugeshwara, Additional Secretary to the President, Clean Sri Lanka program, one of the key figures behind the Clean Sri Lanka program. So, as I explained earlier, he is going to discuss about different aspect of Clean Sri Lanka, blue-green Clean Sri Lanka. So, first I would like to ask Ms. Sugeshwara, can you explain us very briefly what is Clean Sri Lanka?
Thank you, Mr. Prasad. Actually, first let me thanks Rupawahini Corporation for inviting me to this very important discussion. Referring to your question, in short, it is very difficult to summarize the Clean Sri Lanka program, objectives of the Clean Sri Lanka program. Anyway, let me summarize in this way. Clean Sri Lanka program is designed for developing the Sri Lankan society in social, environmental and ethical aspects. Let me a little bit brief the idea because this is very important to understand the goal of the Clean Sri Lanka program. When you say the main goal, you can say we need to develop Clean Sri Lanka in the entire society of Clean Sri Lanka, entire society of Sri Lanka in socially responsible, environmentally sustainable and ethical behavior of each and every citizen of Clean Sri Lanka to a greater extent. That is the goal of the Clean Sri Lanka program, I would say.
Yes, I asked this question because Sri Lankans know about Clean Sri Lanka, but this discussion will be on Asia Pacific platforms, especially in the platforms of Asia Pacific Broadcasting Union, which has a membership of 66 countries. So, I asked this question actually because of the on behalf of our international partners, international members of the Asia Pacific Broadcasting Union. So, at the same time, Sugeshwara, can you briefly describe us on current major projects that you are taking on?
Actually, under the Clean Sri Lanka program, we are implementing mainly two kind of projects. First kind, we can say budgetary projects. the projects which are implemented by using the national budget. For the year 2025, the government has reserved 5,000 million Sri Lankan rupees for implementing projects under Clean Sri Lanka. Currently, we are implementing 52 projects, budgetary projects under Clean Sri Lanka, achieving goals of the Clean Sri Lanka program. And then we are implementing a different kind of projects that are not using government money, but using the sponsorships, money from well-wishers, and with the support of the private sector of this country, NGOs, INGOs, and donor agencies. With that kind of supports, we are implementing we call that kind of projects for our business non-budgetary projects. That kind of projects are also around 15 projects, if my memory is correct. We are implementing 15 that kind of projects under Clean Sri Lanka program.
Can you briefly elaborate us on the Clean Sri Lanka's sustainability drive?
Actually, when you say the entire goal of the Clean Sri Lanka program completely depend on the sustainability of the projects implemented under Clean Sri Lanka. Now, when you say sustainability, everybody refers the 17 SDG goals agreed by the international community. Now, I would say 14 goals out of 17 is well within the objectives of the Clean Sri Lanka program. Therefore, the program itself is built on the sustainability. In other words, now we are talking about the environmental sustainability. As I explained earlier, there are three main pillars under Clean Sri Lanka initiatives. Social, you call it social, environmental, and ethical pillars. Now, we are talking of social sustainability and environmental sustainability and improving the behavioral, we are talking of a behavioral change of the entire society. Now, all these goals are by nature with coming under the sustainability. Therefore, each and every projects implemented, designed under Clean Sri Lanka is built on the concept of sustainability. So, now for example, environmental sustainability is a kind of a very necessary aspect for well-being of the society and for a long-lasting society, long-lasting environment. These are the kind of key aspects of the Clean Sri Lanka program. Therefore, each and every program we design mainly on two aspects. One is the project itself shall be sustainable, and without assuring the sustainability, we do not implement any projects under Clean Sri Lanka. For example, if we are supporting for developing waste management in local government sector, first we assure the sustainability of such infrastructure. Without assuring the sustainability, we never support that kind of any kind of projects. For other I can say another example. Now we are supporting to develop sanitary facilities for the public. But you know, in Sri Lanka, our experience is sometimes you develop sanitary facilities and you don't maintain such facilities in a proper manner. However, under the Clean Sri Lanka, now we are supporting the Ministry of Public Administration and Local Governments and for provincial and for UDA for improving sanitary facilities in urban areas and in tourism centers. Now, what we what our first attention is what is the program they have for assuring the sustainability. Now, in some cases, when we develop a washroom, we develop at the same time a kind of a coffee shop. Then coffee shop is handed over to a business person with getting the agreement from him for assuring the maintenance of the adjacent washroom. That kind of things are very necessary for implementing Clean Sri Lanka projects under Clean Sri Lanka program.
Yes. And now climate change is a very serious threat that affects the whole world. Sri Lanka is also under that threat. So, in Sri Lanka, there are a number of climate action projects and plans are being taken place. So, can you describe how Clean Sri Lanka is contributing for climate action activities?
Actually, this is a kind of a broader subject. Now, climate change is a kind of a reality we are experiencing these days. Now, most of the professionals are agreed that climate are changing in a negative direction. Now, we need to, as a society, as an international community, we need to implement together actions to overcome the challenges of the climate change. In another word, we can say we need to assure the resilience against climate change. Climate resilience has to be assured in any projects. One thing is, when we implement any project under Clean Sri Lanka, we are very careful not to implement anything that which accelerate the climate change. We think in the positive way. Any project under Clean Sri Lanka shall be designed so that the project outcomes is well aligned with climate resilience actions. That is one thing. I told you we are implementing in the year 2025 52 budgetary projects and around 15 non-budgeted projects. All these projects we are designing, and we have designed so that the outcomes are supporting climate resilience. And in another way, now we are working well with, there are now, as you said, there are now many climate resilience projects are being implemented in this country by various government ministries, institutions and NGOs, and we are supporting them for implementing their activities. Now, for example, Ministry of Agriculture is implementing CRESS-MPA project for improving climate resilience and disaster risk management. And there is another project called Climate Smart Agriculture. Now we are working with them because they are funds are assured them to their programs already. Therefore, that it is not needed to fund supports for them, but anyway, they need coordination. Sometimes they are facing problems of coordination among various institutions. So then we support them for coordination. We support them for getting the support of the private sector, getting the support of NGOs. That kind of actions are already also being implemented by under the Clean Sri Lanka program with the support of actually the Presidential Secretariat, because Presidential Secretariat is empowered with the power of coordination among various institutions, not only among government institutions, but also among private and non-governmental organization sector.
Yes, and now climate change and natural disasters, they have very close interconnection, and in recent past Sri Lanka is also facing the threat of various natural disasters due to the climate change, according to the explanation provided by various scientists. So, in Sri Lanka there are a number of disaster management measures taken, and Sugeshwara, can you tell us how can Clean Sri Lanka join with those activities, disaster management and disaster risk reduction activities?
Yeah, actually disaster risk management is kind of a very necessary activities nowadays, maybe because of disaster has been aggravated, especially climate disasters has been aggravated, as you said, owing to the climate change. Now we experience, not like in our childhood, nowadays we are experiencing climate induced disasters frequently. Now suppose you experience floods in very frequently than earlier. Now you experience droughts in frequently maybe than earlier, and that kind of the climate change effects are visible in and also professionals have been establish the effects of climate change. A major effect is this kind of aggravating disasters. Therefore, disaster resilience also very important for a sustainable society. Now, in Sri Lanka, there are various projects are being implemented these days to fight with disaster, or in other words, to assure the disaster resilience of the country. Now, most of these disasters are, not all, but most of these disasters are climate induced. For example, cyclones or floods or droughts, and landslides, all these things are very prominent disasters are climate induced. Therefore, assuring the sustainability of the climate is essential for assuring the disaster resilience. Anyway, you need actions, you need specific actions, and you need to implement specific projects for assuring the disaster resilience. For example, you need to develop water management systems, you need to develop flood management systems, or you need to develop landslides management systems. That kind of and also you need to develop early warning systems, especially those there are many projects are being implemented by various government institutions, including Disaster Management Center, maybe Department of Meteorology, or maybe National Building Research Organization, Irrigation Ministry and the department, and these kind of various government organizations are implementing various projects to assure disaster resilience. Anyway, they need to support of coordination, they need the support of sometimes assuring funds, assuring the support of donor agencies. These kind of supports are necessary for them. Frankly speaking, within this year we could not assure the funding support for disaster resilience of this country. However, we are planning to extend our activities and projects and programs in order to support disaster resilience in this country. Probably actually within the next year we will be starting supporting these government organizations and also the other organizations for their programs, even through funding if they necessary, because this sector you need a huge investment, because Sri Lanka is a kind of a vulnerable country for disasters in the current context. Therefore, you need more and more investments. Therefore, we will be working for assuring the government support and the funding support, and also the non-governmental and international supports. We will be working for getting such support for their projects. But anyway, however, the main responsibility of implementing such projects lies with such organizations including the Ministry of Defense and Ministry of Disaster Management Center, Ministry of Agriculture and Department of Irrigation, National Building Research Organization, Department of Meteorology. These organizations hold the main responsibility, and they are seeking actually our support for their programs. Therefore, we assure our support for their projects. In that manner, we have a big role of in this sector also.
Yes. Now, as I mentioned in my introductory remarks, Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation as the national television of Sri Lanka is to host the 9th ABU Climate Action and Disaster Prevention Summit in November. So, Clean Sri Lanka is also a partner of that. So, what can you say about this endeavor, this joint collaboration endeavor?
Actually, Prasad, when the chairman of the Rupayani Corporation and also he is a member of the Clean Sri Lanka Task Force, and when he introduced this program, when he introduced this idea of conducting a kind of an international media summit on this sector, on the disaster resilience and climate resilience sector, I was very happy, and the President Secretary was very happy to support this program because media has a very prominent role in this sector, in climate resilience, in disaster resilience. Media has to play a very big role. If I summarize that role, number one is making the awareness among the public. Professionals can come with ideas, can come with concepts, but those will be merely concepts and ideas and science. But if the general public are not well aware of these kind of concepts, then that nothing can be implemented. Therefore, awareness among the public, awareness among the institutions, awareness among the private sector, awareness among the NGOs, these are very, very important. Therefore, that actually the role of awareness, the major part lies with the media. Therefore, media personnels has to be educated in this area. As professionals, they need to have the knowledge in this area, because to convince others, to aware others, they shall be aware of the things happening around, things happening, what is happening, what is the climate change, what is happening because of the climate change, what are the possibilities. This kind of awareness is very important. Therefore, I believe this summit will make them a room for discussing with professionals, discussing with international professionals who is carrying a vast knowledge in this sector, discussing with media personals, international media personals who are already having a very big vast experience in climate change and disaster management sector. Therefore, our media personals, not only from Jatika Rupayaniya, but also from all other sectors of the media of this country, maybe other television channels, maybe broadcast in radio channels, maybe print media. They may, I know you have already invited many media personnels to take part in this summit. Now, they will be getting a kind of a rare chance to see the best practices in this sector, see how developed media in this developed world behaves, how they implementing their ideas, how they convincing public. This kind of area, you will be getting a, I think, very important opportunity for facing this, for getting improved your exposure, your knowledge on this sector. Now, I remember now media behavior in when a disaster happens, current media practices are not best practices actually. I experience sometimes they see it as an opportunity. Sometimes they use that kind of a event for marketing, for promoting their channels, but actually international practice is completely different. They are supporting to safeguard public against a disaster, to inform the data and information at the correct time to the public, and they work with the professionalism. I see that is not sufficient in this among the media of this country. I am very sorry to say, but anyway I see that. That therefore your effort getting this summit to Sri Lanka and carrying out this summit to other sectors of the media, other channels, you are inviting them. That will be a great opportunity for the country as a whole. Therefore, my blessings are always with this ABU summit. I am really happy about that. I actually, though I am very busy, I am planning to participate that whole event. Thank you for organizing, and thank you for implementing such a marvelous opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Yogeshwar. Actually, we highly appreciate your stance and your commitment towards this endeavor, because as the national television, Sri Lanka Rupawahini Corporation, we are carrying out this task for the whole nation, for the whole media spectrum of this country. So we expect to bring this knowledge, bring this platform to every media station, every journalist of this country. So let's hope for the best, and we are also hoping for a very successful summit in November this year. So with that, we are going to wind up this discussion, and we will meet you in a similar type of discussion, because we carry forward this process, we carry forward this awareness campaign up to the summit and in the post-summit era as well. Thank you for being with us. Good night.
Thank you very much.